Okay, Jenna, we are live. Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm great. It is beautiful
Good.
outside. We've been
I
outside.
know.
My hair
It's
is
just,
starting to show that summer is coming.
it is. Oh, but it beats the rain, that's for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, it's great. If we're going to
Yes,
be at home, then please let us be outside.
absolutely. Well, let me do a brief introduction of you and how we've kind of known each other. So, for all my friends out there who are watching and listening, this is Jenna Winegeart. She is, I've met her through the YMCA in
Mhm.
Rockwall. But has become a great friend.
Mhm.
And this time last year, we were getting ready to do the YMCA Strong Women, Strong Girls event, where you spoke to about 100 women and girls on positive body image and self-esteem and learning to love who we are.
Mhm.
And that was kind of our first thing we did together, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Um, and then now you've been a blogger and you
Mhm.
continue to speak. You're mom of three, and you come to my classes.
Best part.
Oh, thanks. So I just wanted to give that brief introduction on how we met and how we know each other. And then why don't you dive deeper into what you do and yeah, all about Jenna.
Yeah, okay. I love reading, I love writing, I love cooking. And if I can make a career out of those three things one day, then I mean, it can't be beat. So yeah, that's right now it's the writing is very just when I can make the time with
Mm-hmm.
my three kids. They're 5, 3, and 2. So my main platforms are Instagram and then my Monday morning email. So those are that's where I have the most fun writing publicly right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just always trying to spread joy through anything I write. And then I'm married to Blake. He's my best friend. We've been married for 8 years, and that is our life right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and your focus right now, what I've seen in your blog and your emails is joy. And you just mentioned that. And I think it's such a timely topic because, we are going through a really hard time in
Mhm.
our really history of modern society.
Mhm.
And joy can be really hard to come by. I mean, legitimately, people are losing their jobs.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
people are dealing with mental health because of
Mhm.
just having to stay at home.
Mhm.
Um, so let's first dive into, defining joy. It's very different than happiness.
Yeah.
And so in your view, joy versus happiness, how do you differentiate? What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, they're super different. Happiness is a circumstance that we're given,
Mm,
and joy is our perspective in any circumstance.
mm,
So I think about when I was in high school and I played volleyball, and I loved playing volleyball. It was super fun until it got hard, and then
yeah.
it wasn't fun anymore.
Mhm.
I had not yet learned the distinction between happiness and joy. And so for me, it was hard work, not happy, change of circumstance. So I almost quit volleyball because I
Mm,
wasn't happy and I did not understand it. I was so wrapped up in that, even though I loved the sport. And it took that kind of was the catalyst in shifting my mindset to understand that you can have joy without happiness. So
mhm,
it became hard work, growth, the ability to show up and find joy,
mm,
because I mean happiness is great, like that,
mhm,
like happiness is awesome, but
mhm,
happiness is, we can't expect for that to be a mainstay, but
mhm,
joy can be a mainstay.
mhm.
And the more that we look for joy, then we'll probably be happier, but it starts with joy. It doesn't start with happiness.
That's true. And joy seems more kind of deep rooted,
Yeah, for sure.
right? Like
Yeah.
happiness seems really superficial, and then
Yeah.
joy goes a bit deeper. And so that's just even hearing you talk about how your experience with volleyball,
Hmm.
hard work, that is so applicable today.
Hmm.
Hard times, right? And
Yeah.
so what you talked about when things get hard that can hold us back from joy. Are there other things that can hold us back from joy? And
Oh
then
yeah.
okay, so here's the personal question. And then what have you had to let go of to experience more joy in your life?
Yeah, for sure. Because I've I'm a big words person, love books, love writing. So I'm always thinking of little mantras or slogans that I can use to remind myself to be looking for joy. In high school during volleyball, it was always attitude is everything. And it's just kind of grown from there. But I think two things that have taken joy from me, that I've allowed to take joy, and also that I continue to have to kind of let go every day is number one, comparison. Because comparison, I mean, it literally steals and kills our joy. If you are in the middle of comparing, even for a microsecond, you will not have joy. Like 0 times you will have joy, whether you're comparing to make yourself feel better or you're comparing and feeling worse about yourself, you will not have joy. So comparison is the enemy of joy. And then the second thing is expectation. I am a person who naturally has a lot of expectation for myself, for my marriage, for my family. And, I don't think it's wrong to have expectations, but if I start the day focused on my expectations alone, then when they fall short, which they always do, then my joy, like I forget about joy. But if I start the day looking for joy, then my expectations become more flexible because my priority was never perfection. It was joy. And I'm reminded of like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Those
Gosh,
two
that's
things,
good.
yeah, those two things are things that I mean, it's definitely not a 3-step program and you've arrived and now you have joy forever. It's like a constant process. And those are my two things that I think a lot of women deal with, that I have to kind of check at the door every day if I want joy.
Yes, I would agree. It's a daily thing. And I love those 2 points in particular. Comparison. I mean, that's a daily battle. And actually, we were just having that discussion in my own house that comparison, it does no one any good. It either makes you feel prideful in comparing yourself and thinking, oh, I'm better than them, or it makes you feel bad about who you are and that you're not enough. So, and then expectations, man, it's like when I walk out into my house, the difference between expecting my kids to have eaten breakfast in a really clean way, and the expectation is the kitchen is still clean, versus looking for joy in their faces and seeing the little creations of beauty that they are, that is such a great tip. Do you have any other really practical tips for, in our everyday life, like right now, shelter and home situation, how we can find joy?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because these are things that I'm constantly looking for every day. And it depends on like who you're housing with right now. If you're by yourself, if you're married, if you have kids, how old your kids are. But I think all of these can definitely be applied regardless. You just may have to modify. But I think like the most important tangible way for joy right now and any time really is a gratitude list. Like very first thing when you wake up in the morning. I mean, you can pee first if you need to, but
the essentials,
I guess, brush your teeth if you must. But gratitude, like I write down 5 things every morning that brought me gratitude from the day before. And they're all small things, like things that I've looked for, like a really great cup of tea on the back porch, a perfect afternoon for a walk with the kids, my daughter telling me a joke that was really like terrible, but was funny because she like was trying to tell me a joke for the first time.
Yeah.
So little things like that. And then if I'm writing down a list every morning, then I will get in the habit of looking for 5 new things during that day. And if I'm looking for ways to find gratitude, then that equals joy, because gratitude is the antidote of comparison. If I'm constantly looking for gratitude, then I'm not focusing on what somebody else has or is doing. I'm just focused on like my journey and my story. So yeah.
Yes. Quick shout out to Megan Riley. She just joined and said, hey, and she loved your comment of go pee before gratitude. But what I love about that is you can do that with your kids, right? The gratitude list.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never done that, but I think I need to. That's a great tip.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Mm,
And then do you find that okay, I'm going to shift back to like
yeah,
5 years ago when I had all these four kids who
yeah,
were very young. And it is hard when you're not rested, in my opinion,
yeah.
to find joy. But it's still there and it's still
Mhm,
possible. So any
mhm.
tips for those young moms out there,
Yeah,
young dads too? I mean, when
yeah,
they're
for
up at
sure.
night with the baby and yeah.
Yeah. Any new parent or young parent, or I mean human during any stage of life, really understands that rest is actually essential.
Hmm.
When I am not rested, I am a monster, and every tiny problem is a dumpster fire. Um,
Hmm.
so I think when you're in that season, I think it's
Hmm.
so important to have grace with yourself, and whatever you think your productivity should be or your expectations should be or your workout regimen should be, like,
Mm.
cut it in half and then cut it in half again and then have grace with that this much.
That's so good.
um so yeah, I think that I mean it, and remember, even though it feels like eternity, it's really not. uh,
Hmm.
because you will have young kids for a long time, yes, but even though my kids are 5, 3, and 2 and they are still young, I can do so much more than I could even 6 months ago or a
Yes.
year ago. So they're changing very fast. And so I think we have to not feel like we have trapped ourselves in this eternal
Hmm.
sleep deprivation.
Hmm.
So give
Yes.
yourself grace and give yourself some patience for
Yes,
sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
And
And
what
no,
have you done? I was going to ask, like, I follow you on Instagram and I love how creative you are with your kids. Can you just list off some of the creative, fun things that you've been doing with your kids to, even though they're young, still bring that joy and that fun in our current situation?
yeah, for sure. Dance parties are always a good idea. That started when my kids were tiny, and it really started because I needed energy. It was like,
Hmm.
it's 5 o'clock. Dinner's not made yet. Everybody's crying and losing their mind, and uh, I need to move or I'm going to fall asleep standing up.
Hmm.
So I would put on, Disney hits playlist on Spotify,
Hmm.
and we would just dance and
Hmm.
twirl around and be silly and jump on the furniture. And so, if kids can jump on the furniture, it's like, yes. Um, and we still do dance parties all the time. And we have zero dancers in our home. So understand that dancing, like the ability to actually dance, is not required to have a dance party.
Yes.
Um, so that is a big
Mhm.
thing.
Megan just said she loves your cooking show because you bake with your kids. You
Oh
cook with your kids
yeah,
a lot.
yes. And if you go back to our most recent little cooking snippet where I was trying to teach the kids how to make donuts,
Yeah.
you will understand the importance of flexibility and just letting your kids be kids, because it
Yep.
will never go as planned.
Right. Yep.
But we do.
Absolutely.
I love to bake with them. It takes a lot of patience for me, because if I'm baking by myself, I can kind of whip stuff together. And with
Hmm.
kids, you have to, we're just trying to keep all the ingredients in the bowl. But it's a super fun way to do something together. And they're learning a lot too.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think cooking and baking is a really fun way to spend time together and be creative and have fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. We have about 3 minutes left before the workout, which is grit.
So fun. So excited about that.
I know, me too. So a few fun questions,
Yeah.
but one a serious question.
Okay.
So when you've had a really
I'm
game
prepared.
face, when you've had a really tough day, what is the one thing that you can tell yourself that brings you back to the source of your joy, or to refocus to
Yeah.
look for that joy?
Yeah. I think it's very easy to be hard on ourselves at the end of the day and look for all the
Hmm.
shortcomings or ways that we failed. Um,
Hmm.
but I think the most important thing we can say to ourselves at the end of the day is, look how far I've come.
Hmm.
because we have to credit ourselves with how much we are trying. And if we are being intentional about looking for joy and about looking for gratitude and about showing up with love, then we are growing. Like we're going to have hard days because we're humans. You know, we cannot expect to just be rock stars all the time. That's not fair to everybody else. So I think it's super important at the end of the day to say, look how far you've come, acknowledge where you've tried, because that's going to give you the fuel to start the next day off with that joy instead of with guilt, which never does anybody any favors.
Nope. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay. 30 seconds, quick fire questions. You ready?
Yeah.
Your favorite things that bring you joy. Okay. Baked good that brings you joy.
I love baking apple pie.
Apple pie.
I love baking that.
Workout.
Combat all the way.
Yeah, combat.
Yeah.
Soundtrack. Music soundtrack.
Anything Disney or The Greatest Showman.
Awesome. Movie that brings you joy.
Also The Greatest Showman or The New Little Women. That's fantastic.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Okay. I mean,
excellent. And Julie and Julia, because that's all about cooking.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
And Meryl Streep.
Drink. Favorite drink that brings you joy.
That would be a that's a great question. Like a really there's a cafe in Dallas called La La Land Kind Cafe. They have a thin mint matcha latte that is heaven on earth. It will be served in heaven, I promise.
Awesome. Okay, favorite grit move.
The last
you have one. Okay, good.
Whatever's the last move of every grit, that's my favorite move.
You're like, yes, done. Favorite body combat move?
A jump kick. You never feel stronger than jumping and kicking.
Love it. Kick down that door.
That's right.
Say I'm here.
All the doors. Kick them down.
Kick them down. All right. Thank you so much for being here with me, Jenna. Spreading joy, even in really hard times. Just so appreciate your friendship and being able to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Jess, for having me. It's fun talking to you. I was just we were at a coffee shop, just hanging out, and it was.
I know.
Thank you.
Me too. Okay, for all my friends, thank you so much, Jenna. And for all the friends watching, if you will head over to the workout page, the private group, we're about to do some grit strength. So yeah, 30 minutes is all you need to get super sweaty. Yeah. Right, Jenna?
Real super sweaty. Your eyelashes are going to hurt.
Yes, true.
But in a good way.
In a very good way. The best way. All right. Thanks again, Jenna. Have a
You're incredible.
Day full of
you bring so much joy every day. And in this situation and bringing it with your Facebook lives and your workouts and just your attitude, like it's a gift. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. Well, thank you. And I feel the same about you. Go and have the most joyful day ever.
We're going. Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.